And in the interest of fairness and fence sitting, and also acknowledging both my racial privilege as a white man and cultural privilege as an American, I am basically not putting my quarter into this moral jukebox. I am now putting my quarter into this moral jukebox. So, this is not the video that I intended to make when I woke up this morning. This is instead a video that I feel is necessary to make now. This is kind of, I don't know, this 2020 has definitely changed us. For the better, for the worse, who knows? It depends on the person, depends on the circumstances. But for me, I am a different person than I was just a few months ago when I made my review of the 2010 Christmas horror movie, Sint. And in that, the movie depicts some characters that are putting on blackface and playing the character of Black Pete, which is a cultural icon in the Netherlands during Christmas time. And it is kind of born from a story in the mid 1800s that kind of introduced the character Black Pete, who is more into their cultural lexicon in terms of Christmas festivities. And in my review of that, I basically, I really kind of struggled with what to say about that, because I didn't want it to just be left unsaid, but I also didn't want to toss my hat in the ring. I even admitted in my review of that of self fence sitting, and I struggled long and hard with what to say and how to approach this very sensitive topic, because on one hand, as I mentioned in my review, and factually it's correct, this has nothing to do, the Black Pete character has nothing to do with the American minstrel shows and the American history of systemic racism that blackface as we know it is born from. This was a different origin story. And it's still celebrated today. So, if I were to put my hat in the ring on this one, it would be either being culturally insensitive to the Netherlands or racially insensitive to Black people across the world. So instead, I fence sat and I basically said, you know what, I'm just going to say factually that it is present in this movie, and, just a trigger warning kind of thing. This is something that is culturally relevant to this day in the Netherlands. So instead, I kind of approached it from a neutral standpoint and a factual standpoint. This is simply in the movie, fair warning to anybody that wants to watch it. And again, I think 2020 has changed us. If I were to do that review now, I would do it differently. And that's the change that has happened within me is also the reason that I wanted to make this video. Somebody wrote here, YouTube user Despacito wrote a comment on my review of that saying, Black Pete is not racist whatsoever if you do the research. So I want to be absolutely 100% clear on this. I do not fault the movie Sint for including a character doing the Black Pete makeup. The reason for that is because it's currently culturally relevant. There are people out there that around December 5th, a lot of people out there around December 5th in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, that dress up as this. And the movie is simply taking place on December 5th in the Netherlands and including that. So, it's basically just factually representing what is culturally relevant today. And that is not a racial fault of the film. Now, Despacito here is not saying that Sint is not racist. It is saying that Black Pete is not racist. So instead of going after the movie, what I'd like to do is address the Black Pete character himself. I would like to address the cultural stance that the Netherlands takes as far as this character in its lexicon around the holiday time that encourages white people to dress up in this manner. And so basically, here's my take on it. As a white man, I cannot say what is or isn't racist. I cannot say what is or isn't offensive. I can't tell an entire race how they should feel about one thing or another. If an entire group of people feel hurt or feel pain by an object or a symbol, it is not up to me whether or not to tell them that they should or shouldn't feel that way. If people want to argue for the cultural origin of a particular character, object, or symbol and say that the place where Maru was born, the genesis of it, was not coming from a place of hate, I say okay, but that does not always excuse the current usage of it. Not to potentially Godwin's law myself, but the swastika has been used for hundreds of years across the gamut of human history, across multiple religions, cultures, generations, oftentimes meaning things of good luck, good fortune, even the footsteps of Buddha. But we don't use it today. It has caused too much pain in the past, regardless of where the country's origin came from, of your particular usage of it. It is simply a bruise on the soul of humanity. So too is blackface. It is a stain on our soul. And regardless of your country's origin or whether or not it was born of hate, the fact of the matter is, currently it causes people pain. Now, I'm not saying that we should strip it away from our culture altogether. Those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. But I think that there is a big difference between keeping it in history books and keeping it in museums and keeping it in academic learning of our history versus celebrating it in modern day times. Knowing about it, learning about it is very different from celebrating it. And yes, this can go to Confederate statues and the Confederate flag. I put my hat in the same exact ring. When I'm talking about Black Pete, I'm also talking about the Confederate flag and any other symbols of hate that is causing people pain today. We don't have to eliminate them, but we don't have to celebrate them either. No doubt this will cost me some subscribers and some followers and so on and so forth, but again, 2020 has changed us. It has certainly changed me, and I no longer feel that fence sitting is an option. At the very least, since the comment was made and I felt the need to reply, I didn't want to just reply with text and potentially have my inflection and my subtleties and so forth misconstrued. I wanted to actually make a video and address this head on with my full feelings towards this end. So thank you very much for watching. If you're going to leave a comment on this video, I don't ask that you agree with me, but I do ask that you be respectful and courteous so that a dialogue can actually be achieved. Thank you very much.